Welcome to Amy's Saturday morning tip of the week. It's my turn. I have a tip for you. How many of you want to cook and bake and to have great time in the kitchen because the weather's so horrible, but maybe when it comes to baking cookies, they come out like, I don't know, hockey pucks, or you have a family member actually nails them to the wall because they're so hard? Been there, done that. And you follow the recipes as good as you can, but they always come out a little too dry, too hard. Maybe they taste good when they're fresh, but give them an hour and then they're hard again. I have a simple process and even a simple tool that can help you with that. So you'll enjoy baking cookies again. So join me as I show you how to cook soft cookies on Amy's Saturday morning tip of the week. So this quick tip will help you start to use these instead of these with your cookies. So we all know that when you're making cookies, you're going to be using ingredients like flour and, butter a lot of times. But you're also using sugar. And a lot of times there might be a couple different kinds of sugars. You're going to be using white, maybe to make them crispy, brown to make them a little soft and chewy. But what do they have in them? Moisture. And what does the oven do? Takes the moisture out, right? So you can cook the recipe 8 minutes, 5 minutes, 14 minutes, whatever they tell you, pop them out and you follow the directions, but you got bad cookies. So there's something simple that can kind of help you with that, right? Like, don't cook them as long. Cookies are a lot like eggs. Eggs, a lot of times you want to take them off the fry pan or off the stove before they're 100% done, and then they cook on your plate to finish it up. Otherwise, you run the risk of them being dried out, hard, rubbery, whatever. Cookies do the same things. But you might have a problem. How do I take them out of the oven if they're not completely done, right? They're just raw dough. Well, they're still going to be soft, but we have different tools to help with that. This is just one of them. When you're cooking your cookies, and they've been in there for what appears to be close to the cooking time, you lift them a little bit and you'll see maybe there's just a little bit of brown on the edges. That even though they're soft and they're going to fall apart on you, that's good enough. You go ahead and you pull them out, right? And what you do is you just let them sit there for a couple of minutes, if that. Right now, if you touch them, they're going to fall apart, get smushed. They're horrible. But they're going to finish cooking a little bit on this really hot cookie sheet, right? Now, if you take a spatula like this one here, which if I get it here, you'll see it's kind of thick here, but thin here. But because it's silicone, it bends really easy. So I don't recommend one of those, especially when these things are that tender. This is a really cheap but rigid plastic one that's pretty thin. This one just might cut it. You need something that's thin and rigid. This here is called a fish spatula. We like these and we use these all the time. They're thin, but they're pretty stiff. And they can scoop under an undercooked cookie and still, with careful, try to keep from pushing that cookie and smashing it. And then you put it up onto your rack here. A lot of recipes, they'll tell you to cook for X minutes and then cool them on a rack. And of course, you want to cool them on a rack until they're room temperature or close to it until you can eat them, of course. And you definitely want them cool them to room temperature before you try to put them away in any kind of storage. But a lot of times when you take them out of the oven, you're cooking them until you think they're done, and then you bring them here. And I'm not talking about burning them, I'm just talking about you're cooking them until they're moderately hard or firm, but then they're going to keep cooking. and then that's what really dries them out. And then they're toast. You got to eat them right away, and then a little while later, you know, they're kind of hard. But by taking them out a little early, let them sit here for a minute or two, and then transfer them to the wire rack, now you're good. We need to be golden brown on the edges. The middles don't have to look done, and if you cook them till they're done, you're going to kill them. So look until the edges look golden brown, and that's good enough. So for right now, we're just going to go ahead and let it cool on the rack for a couple of minutes until we can then transfer to the wire racks where they'll cool at room temperature. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes now. If you have a metal spatula, might be better. This is a hard plastic, so it should do equally good. Flexible rubber is not going to cut it. And you just want to go ahead and be gentle. These cookies are basically finishing their cooking a little bit on these pans over the last couple of minutes, and they're also going to cook a little bit as they cool on the wire racks. So even though they look soft and crumbly a little bit, don't worry, just be gentle with them, okay? That's all you can ask for. And they look beautiful, don't they? And if you've got a couple of these things going, you can put one in the oven, have the other one all ready, pull one out, have the other one go into the oven, let this guy cool for a couple of minutes, put them on here, and kind of keep them going. You can go back and forth with two of these pretty efficiently. And that's pretty much how we like to cook, and it's actually worked out pretty good. When my dad put a family member's, I won't mention names, hockey puck up on the wall, that was a low point right there of baking, and I kind of always remembered that. And one day, after learning this little method here and being exposed to these fish spatulas, you know, I like cooking. So I'm hoping that for people who didn't know that little tip, that it helps you, gives you, you know, confidence, gets you to want to cook for your family and friends and just enjoy it, and hopefully, you know, you have a good time and everything. So I know there's probably a lot of people out there that have known something like this, but the cookbooks, mostly, they don't say how to do this. And so that's the part I wanted to share. Thank you for joining us for a Saturday morning tip of the week. If you like this video, please subscribe and give us a comment and a like, and visit our website at amylearnstocook.com. And join our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/AmyLearnsToCook. People are talking about all kinds of stuff on there, cooking related, mixers and stuff. It's all kinds of fun. Also, join us on Twitter and Pinterest at Amy Learns to Cook. And we're also on Instagram at Cookin' with Amy.